again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again in the kitchen with another tasty video for you. Recently, I found out about this and I couldn't wait to share it with you guys because it is tasty, it is delicious, it is versatile. It is called pasta e ceci, which roughly translates to pasta with chickpeas. And I absolutely love it also because it is a one-pot meal. Yes, so there's less to clean up, which of course is very beneficial. And you can tweak it, you can do different things to it. Now, what I'm going to show you today is but one variation of this kind of a recipe, because I have seen countless versions of this. Some are more like a soup, and some are more of something that you would eat with a fork. This is the latter. However, there are so many different things that you can do with it. This is, I would like to think of as sort of a canvas that you can explore with and create something new yourself, because that's what I've been doing with this recipe and I really like it. And yeah, so it is very, very easy. I'm going to walk you through it. And of course, as per usual, in the description box down below, it's going to be a full list of all the ingredients. But what I really like about this is that it is pantry staple friendly. So you can have all these things on hand ahead of time and then make them in a pinch. And also the recipe makes about 2 really good serving sizes, but of course you can double it or, alter it however you may see fit. Well, that being said, let's get started. Alrighty. Hello again. All right, so I'm using this camera angle. It's not very convenient, but you'll get to see everything happening a lot easier. So that being said, we are going to start off with 4 tablespoons of an extra virgin olive oil, and you are going to need a nice big pot because we're going to be adding a lot of stuff to our concoction here. So let's get the show on the road and start off with our 4 tablespoons of olive oil. That's 1. That's 2. Three. And 4. Looks like I just made it. Okay. I'll get this little guy back into the sink. 1 second. Okie dokie. And now we need our aromatics. Yes, we do. So, going to use some minced garlic. I love this stuff. As much as I love fresh garlic, this is so much easier. And that is the name of the game with this recipe. So going to be using 4 teaspoons of minced garlic. If you really like garlic, you can totally add more. That's no problem. I'm just going to use 4. It's 2. 3. And 4. Now, of course, if you don't have minced garlic, you could always use garlic powder. That's fine too. You may need to adjust the measurements a little bit in that regard, but so be it. All right, let me get this into the sink as well. Okie dokie. And then for our other aromatic, we're going to be using some crushed red pepper. And I'm going to put in half of a teaspoon. You don't really need a ton. We're not making assassin's pasta here, which really wants it to be nice and spicy. This, not so much, but gives it a nice little zing. Okay, and then get our heat going. So I'm going to have both, actually, yeah, I'm going to have both of the rings going, and I'm going to start it at a medium to low heat. I'm going to start it at a 4, okay? And it's going to be just enough to sort of get the aromatics cooking and sizzling away, get the garlic to get a little bit browned, and the smell and the flavor getting into the oil and so forth. So I'm just going to mix this around a little bit. Okay. All right. So I'm going to let this heat up for a little bit, get it sizzling. You don't want it to burn, okay, but you do want the garlic to start to brown just a little bit and, get the aromatics going. And I will see you in just a moment. Okie dokie. So as you can see, my oil and my garlic and my pepper flakes are sizzling away and doing their thing. I'm just going to give them a little bit of a stir. You don't want it to burn, but you do want the aromatics to do their thing. And it is at this point that we're going to introduce some tomato paste. And I already measured it out. It is about 1/4 of a cup of tomato paste. Which is about 1/2 of one of those little cans. I'll show you. Get in there. There we go. Yeah, it's about 1/2 of a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. And then give this a nice little mix. Incorporating everything together as best we can. Doesn't have to be exact. Okie dokie. All right. And then let that continue for, just a little bit, all of the flavors and everything, incorporating together and so forth. And as far as the chickpeas, I already have ready a 15-ounce can of chickpeas, and as a little extra bonus, I decided to throw in some canned chicken breast. It's chunk chicken breast, so I've got 2 of these cans. Now what I did was I drained them, I rinsed them, and they're going to go in here relatively soon. But I wanted to give you an idea of what it is that I'm doing. Oh, by the way, the ounceage of the chicken is about 5 ounces per can. I'm using 2 cans. Not the birds. I like 2-can birds. All right, so this is starting to get a little crispy on the bottom of the pot, which is just fine. Okay, it is magic time. So now at this point, add about 3 cups of water or a chicken broth. Okay, so that's just 3 cups of water. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of my favorite staples. It's a chicken bouillon powder. I'm going to use, how many? 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons of this chicken bouillon powder. Now if you're using chicken stock or chicken broth, you can use that as well, as opposed to the 3 cups of water. That's 1 and 2. Now, because there is a fair amount of sodium in my chicken bouillon, I'm not going to add any salt to what we have going on here. If you're using a low or no sodium chicken stock, chicken broth to what we have here, then I would suggest adding perhaps a teaspoon or two of some salt. But because this already has salt in it, I'm not going to do that. I did it once, and oh my, it was way too salty. So right now we're going to bring this actually up to a boil. So I'm going to raise the temperature and mix this up a little bit, incorporating the tomato paste and our aromatics and our bouillon, and get it nice and going here. Bring it up to a boil. There we go. Okay, and then once we have brought this up to a boil, we're going to add in the chickpeas, the chicken, and the pasta. Now, as far as the pasta goes, you can use pretty much whatever you like. I would suggest something that is small and bite-sized, personal opinion. So I'm going to be using rotini, and I'm going to be using 2 cups of uncooked rotini, and it's going to come out fabulous. It's already starting to boil. This is awesome. Okay, I gotta open this. Ooh. Okay, we got the boiling going on here. Awesome. Give it a little bit of a stir again. You'll have to excuse all the steam. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my chickpeas and my my chicken. Like I said, I already drained this. So just dump everything in there. Want all that chicken goodness. Also, you could use a rotisserie chicken that's all cut up. That's totally fine too. I just like the convenience of using canned chicken. Alright, so I got that. And then throw in my 2 cups of dried pasta here. Throw that in. Give that a good stir. And believe it or not, that's about it. Yeah, all we have to do now is just let this sit and simmer. I'm going to lower the temperature to, it was just at about a 9. I'm going to lower it down to about a 3.5 or so. Just a nice low simmer. You know, a little bubbly going on, but you don't want a full rolling boil. But yeah, bring it down to a simmer and then let it do so at a simmer for about 15-ish minutes until most of the liquid has been absorbed by the pasta and that the pasta is al dente, and that's pretty much it. So going to let this simmer for, like I said, about 15 minutes, and I will see you in just a bit. Okie dokie. Hello again. Alright, so my pasta has been cooking for roughly about 15 minutes, you know, at a nice simmer. Now, if you find that the water is getting soaked in a little too fast, you can always add a little bit more. In fact, I did. I added about 1/3 of a cup or so of water because I felt that it was absorbing and evaporating a little too fast. And so basically, you just want to make sure that your pasta is nice and al dente. And also, of course, giving it, the occasional stir so that it doesn't get stuck to the bottom naturally. But we've created a really nice sauce to go with our pasta, chickpeas, and a little bit of chicken. So let's do the al dente test here. Let me just grab one of these little guys. Okay. We are good to go. All right, so I'm going to bowl this and store my leftovers, and we shall do the official taste test. All right, I'll meet you at the table. All righty. All right, so now it is time for my favorite part of all these videos, the tasting. And so just to not spill it, but give you a nice close-up. Oh, it looks so good. I'm so excited. I love this. This is my favorite part. All right, so a little bit of the chicken, a little bit of the chickpeas, and a little bit of the pasta, and bon appetit. It's still quite steamy, so. I love it. Now, of course, you could add, a little bit of, grated cheese on top. I'm going au naturel with this for now. After I'm done, filming, I'm going to add some cheese, but, oh, so good. It is, to me, it feels rustic. It feels homey. It feels like comfort food, and I love this. I also love how everything is done in just the one pot. We are creating a sauce. We're cooking the pasta. We're doing everything in the one pot. And I love simplicity. Simplicity is highly underrated. And if you have some, leftover veggies or like a little bit of leftover ham or really whatever, throw it in. Why not? I did think about perhaps adding in maybe a can of mushrooms or maybe some scallions or maybe some spinach, seriously, go crazy, have fun with it. In this, I think, as I said before, I think it is a great platform for other variations and of course, different kinds of pasta as well. The only thing is I don't think I would necessarily recommend a long strand pasta like a spaghetti or a linguine or something like that. Something tells me that it wouldn't read correctly in my mind. Don't ask me why. But as far as a nice small shaped pasta with the chickpeas, which does give you some protein, but if you want to add in a little bit more, you could throw in some chicken like I did. Also, I'm sure that I'm going to have some controversy over this one, but I think perhaps even some Spam diced up, thrown in. I think that would be nice as well. However, if you do, I would suggest being careful about the amount of extra salt that you add because Spam is fairly salty. So just something to keep in mind. I personally see nothing wrong with it as long as it's heated or cooked. I will not eat Spam out of a can. Nope. But if it's, cooked or heated or that sort of a thing, I actually kind of like it. It's a nice quick fix, and it is shelf stable, which is an extra bonus. And so I have to have another bite, if you'll excuse me. I'm sorry, I have to. That's hot. Oh! Yeah, that was hot. But what I really like also is that the flavors, they nicely developed between the garlic and the red pepper. And just keep in mind, because you are sort of condensing all of the liquid down, that whatever flavors you do put in, they will become heightened. They will become enhanced. Now, the first time that I had made this, I didn't quite realize that the heightening would be as significant as it was, because originally the recipe that I was trying to emulate, it called for adding 3 teaspoons of salt along with your chicken bouillon or what have you, and I used 3 teaspoons of chicken bouillon, 1 teaspoon per cup of water, which is what I usually do when I'm making soup. But this is condensed. It's whittled down, so it was salty. Oh my, it was really salty. So what I did was to sort of facilitate things better. I eliminated adding any extra salt and I reduced the amount of bouillon, and it worked really well. I even reduced the amount of garlic from like 5 teaspoons down to 4 teaspoons, and I think it worked out really, really nicely. And then, throw in, some chicken or maybe a can of mushrooms or really whatever tickles your fancy. I love this. I've already had this dish several times and I'm delighted. And so listen, have you had pasta e ceci before? And if you have, what was similar? What was different? Was it more of a soup, or more of a fork eating meal? What was your variation experience? I'm always interested in hearing about your kitchen experiences and your suggestions as well, for other future recipes. And so listen, I really hope that you liked today's video. I loved today's video more than usual because this is so expletive tasty. Yes, it is. It's expletive tasty. And so listen, I want to hear from you in the comments section. Let me know again, have you had this before? What was your variation like? If you want to see me do other recipes on this channel, please let me know. And as always, until next time, you know what to do, right? I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay making fun, fabulous, tasty things. Share it, with someone you love or a friend of yours, and enjoy. Yeah, take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now, everybody, and have a great day.